Hello, hello, hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 11 and has autism. And he helps me paint the backgrounds of our paintings with a hand over hand method, working on his fine motor skills. And right now, I am on a flower journey, I think. Seems like that's what I'm painting a lot of right now. I went through a rooster phase. I've gone through multiple phases of multiple things, but flowers seem to be where I'm at right now. And I started painting with my son to help him with the fine motor skills, and then I had never really painted before, but now I paint all the time. I love it, and that's where it's at for us, for me, for him, for all of us, both of us. Not sure what the words are. But tonight, I painted this pink background with him, and I just got it in my head that I was just going to paint some simple, bright flowers. And if y'all have watched any of my videos, you know that the rules, we just throw them out the window. Because what I think I'm going to paint and how I think I'm going to paint it don't always come out like what I think. So I'm just going to kind of put some paint out there and we'll go from there. And you know, half the time my paintings, when I'm painting, the stuff gets covered up or changed. So, you know, we break all the rules that don't know what the rules are. If I knew what the rules were, maybe we wouldn't break them. Oh, but I don't. And if you just notice that, that is what I do a lot of. I put way too much paint on my paintbrush, and then it gets all splotchy, and a lot of times I drop it in random places that I didn't want it really to be. But again, that's okay. We just keep going. And then if we have to, like, make something different out of it, we do. And you'll notice that I use one paintbrush pretty much with all my flowers. Occasionally I will, if I'm making an animal or my roosters or something else, then I might add some other paintbrushes, like when I'm working through something. But most of the time, here I am with one paintbrush. And you'll notice they're not really connected to any of these stems yet, but we'll get there. And who knows, we might need some other colors than I have on my plate. Well, technically I have it on parchment paper, but I make I call them paint blobs, but eventually maybe they'll get a better name. But right now they're called paint blobs. I take my paint and I put it on this parchment paper. I'm going to try plastic. I keep saying that, a little bit thicker plastic, but I haven't. And eventually I squish this all out, and then they get like this. And I take these and use them in my magnets and paint blobs. Now these are some of the first ones I did, and I've showed these many times now. I have way too much, trying to hold it where you can kind of see it. Way too much glue, because I had the glue all over my fingers, all over me, all over everything. So I've adapted a little bit since then, and I'll get it figured out eventually, and I will then make some more, and we'll see what happens. Just break the rules, because we don't know what we're doing. I never really took any painting classes or I've watched some videos, but I haven't watched a lot of like the complete set of how you hold your brush and how you do this and how you do that, which I probably should, but I just paint. I paint from my heart, and I paint, this just means a lot to me because of my son and painting with him, and what all that means. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, you probably are going to know what I'm going to say next. I love, does anybody know yet? I love to watch paint dry. Now, I'm using pink on a pink background, so I can't wait to see what happens as this dries. And I've kind of built this on the top of it, and there's a little bit of the blue in there and tiny bit of the green, and most of it might get covered at some point. We'll see. Who knows? But I love watching paint dry for these particular reasons, because what's it gonna look like when it's on this pink background and I'm using pink paint? And it's over the green stuff, the stems, but what's gonna happen to it? What's gonna make it stand out or not stand out as it dries? What's gonna make it different, or what's gonna make it part of what we need it to make? I don't know. We'll see. And so we just keep fluffing on here. And again, who knows as we go on if this is going to be one of the flowers that stands out or if it's going to hide. Don't know. And the yellow, this extra bright yellow, this little yellow right here, that is a neon, and in the green, these are the neons, and I love using these because they stand out a little bit more when they dry, and they kind of they're almost like a headlight on your canvas, where it just kind of shines out there. And so I love the reaction to the colors and how it looks once it's dry. And this green that I'm using is actually one of the neons too. And so as it kind of dries in there, it'll stand out on its own. And I like that part of it. I like that it just tells its own little story. So I'm fascinated by it. Today, my son, he has autism, and sometimes it's hard for him to express his words, or he'll say other words and it doesn't really connect with what he's talking about, but he doesn't know the correct word, or the word that is technically associated with it. Like, he used to, years ago, call his toes birthday candle. Not candles. He didn't say each one was a candle. He just called them birthday candle. And it took me a while to figure out what he meant. But once I did, then that helped me so much because I realized he needed help with his feet or help with, something, his shoes or something with that, because he kept saying that he needed something done with his birthday candle. So once I figured that out, it was a miracle. It was just this amazing gift, because then I could associate words with him and help him kind of through all that. Well, he has been he tells me things like, especially when we're out riding around, he will tell me to go to a particular place, and he'll say, turn right at the kangaroo, or it's raining and it's not raining. And today he talked about lizards and lips in this one section, where he used to always say that it was raining. And so he's trying to make connections to something, but it can take me a while for him to say exactly the right thing or be able to show me something that helps me kind of know what he's talking about. So the other day I installed this map app for him, and that has changed so much for him. He's so excited about it. So it's really helping him to find places around here that he knows and he wants to talk about. Well, he always tells me he loves pirates. He loves pirate stories and all of the different characters and things like that on the Disney Channel and such. So he loves all of that kind of thing. And he watches a lot of the pirates, and he tells me to turn right at the skeleton. And depending on which way, he'll say left at the skeleton. Well, it's a building. It's a like a church type building. And he keeps telling me to turn right or left at it, and I couldn't figure out why he called it like the skeleton, or what was the skeleton. I didn't know that it was the building. I had no clue what we were trying to find, or why I was turning right, left at this place. So today he brings me this app, and he shows me this building. He was able to find the building that he calls the skeleton, and he showed it to me. And the way the windows are set up, it looks like almost like skeleton ribs, like how there's space in the skeleton and how that looks. So he was so excited because he was able to tell me that that was the skeleton and that was what he was looking at. And it was truly amazing to see his mind at work on how he figured this out, or how he called this the skeleton. And then above the window that he was referencing the whole thing, because it truly looked probably in his mind looks like the rib cage, or the whole thing for all I know. Well, he started talking about that the skeleton had a hat on, and above this window there was this symbol, like kind of looked like a hat, kind of like a pirate shaped style, and it was right there. It was right above this window. And so the beauty of that, for him to be able to say to me, there's the window, there's the skeleton, there's all of this. And it totally now makes incredible sense that he was able to reference that as a skeleton, look at it and say, yeah, that looks, similar, that looks like. And he just totally got it. He totally knew exactly what he thought it was. It was a skeleton, and there you go. But it's so amazing to watch his brain think and rethink and overthink. Well, that's me, not him. Me overthink the things that he sees in this world. And I was just amazed at everything that he like came up with and everything that he was looking at. And so that was just fabulous to me. I'm so thankful that he got it, that he was able to share what he saw. And that's kind of like an everyday occurrence for us. There's so many little things that he goes through, and he tries to explain something, and I don't get the words. I don't get the reference because, I mean, for him to be able to see this building, because I wasn't sure. He tells me to turn right at the kangaroo all the time. There is nothing there that now that I kind of been figuring out this code, but I don't see anything that would make me think of a kangaroo. But I'm going to look again. I'm going to see if I can't figure something else out for that area. But just to be able to have that moment where he's got the other thing, it's huge. It's really exciting to me. And I'm very thankful that he was able to kind of break that down and show me what he meant. So this tool, this app that shows all this, I'm so excited about it because the things that he's just able to find and able to express now because of it, I just feel so incredibly thankful and blessed over this tool. So, it's our kids are miracles. Our kids are just they just blessings. And when I can figure out things like this with them, it makes my heart just sing. And I had a rough emotional day just from everything. There's several things going on, and I lost my brother not quite 2 years ago, and that is a journey in itself. So it's hard. It's hard to think about things that woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I try to just have those moments, remember the good, and keep moving forward. I feel like I want to do something else, but I feel like it's almost right as it should be. I'm adding a little more texture to this because as the paint dries, that's going to kind of fall in the background a little more than I wanted it to. Kind of this too. That darker blue, it's hard to see maybe, but that darker blue on my tip, there's a little bit of it in here. It's also one of the neons. And so adding the neon, these are also the neons that I put under here, or one of them is, I should say. But adding that extra little touch on there, it's gonna kind of pull that out a little bit. I liked that little bit of definition more on top there. So I feel like I want something over here, but I don't want to stack it too heavy. So I think I'm gonna just let that be and kind of add a few little extras down here. I have a tiny bit of a shake, and so when I was talking about not painting earlier, that's one of the reasons I didn't paint a lot, is because, I knew I couldn't paint these perfect paintings. Oh, did you see that? I almost had a big old drop. That is actually how come some of my paintings are splattered, because I dropped paint, because I put too much paint on my whatever this brush, whatever this thing's called. So I always put O for Owen, and then L for Lynn, L, B, trying to, O is the foundation. He's the reason I started painting, so I love to put him on every one of the paintings, because it's part of him. It's part of why we do this. And then the colors, I just can't help but put the extra colors in there, and this is as much part of our story as the whole painting, so that's why it has to be there. Well, that's why I want it there, I should say. So anyways, thank you for watching and being part of our journey. That means a lot to me. And tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about it. I appreciate everyone, and have a great day. Toodles.